Mother Nature can help us solve all sorts of problems. What if she could help us deal with nuclear waste? Because this material remains radioactive for a very long time, disposing of it is still a contentious issue. Well, Paul Willis recently investigated a unique mineral deposit in country Victoria that may offer clues to the long-term storage of nuclear waste.
A nuclear future holds the promise of power without environmental destruction. But that will only happen if we can find solutions to the safe long-term storage of uranium. This quarry near Lake Boga in northern Victoria might be where Mother Nature reveals one of her secret recipes for dealing with nuclear waste. Apart from the usual quartz, feldspars and micas that form in granites, down in this quarry there's an unusual mix of other very interesting minerals. This quarry first attracted the attention of gem hunters back in the 1960s. They came here looking for smoky quartz and white feldspars. But then they started to find a whole suite of other rarer, more interesting minerals that also attracted the attention of professional mineralogists. The small community of Lake Boga thought they'd struck it rich when uranium was first discovered here. But it was soon realised that the uranium is present in vanishingly small quantities. Bill Birch from Museum Victoria has been coming here looking for minerals for decades. What you got there?
Well, I got some of the really good ones.
Aren't they beautiful?
They are, they're fantastic, aren't they?
So whereabouts do we find these?
Well, somewhere in the quarry if you're lucky.
Let's go and have a look.
Yes.
So, what's the history of this quarry? How long has it been around?
Well, the first bit of granite just sticking above the surface of the wheat field was found about 1908. Then it was investigated a bit more in 1920, and a family business got established on it, opened it up, and it's been going ever since. So it's now a giant hole in the ground.
The interesting thing about it is that it's an incredible window into this big granite mass that's tens of kilometres across. It's the only window into the granite that we have where we can collect, by coincidence, these weird minerals.
These weird minerals form in cracks and joints within the granite.
OK, Paul, this is not a bad spot to see some of the weathering features in the granite. Right at the top, you can see the brown zone, which is the weathered top of the granite. So the weathering is getting down into the ground along those joints.
Let's put this all into a geological perspective. 370 million years ago, this was deep in the heart of a gigantic mountain range. And in the middle of that mountain range, a body of hot liquid magma moved up into the middle of it. And this magma body was laced with some really interesting minerals. There was some phosphate in there was some copper and traces of uranium. This huge pool of magma cooled, crystallised and formed a body of granite. Over those millions of years, the top of that granite body weathered, and some of that phosphate, uranium and copper was released. And it's this part of the story that Bill's really interested in, because that free uranium and copper and phosphate reformed new minerals that are found nowhere else in the world. The new uranium phosphates are stable and insoluble. They lock up uranium for millions of years. And they readily formed here at Lake Boga.
Why did they form here? What was unusual about this environment? On the face of it, the chemicals in the minerals, calcium, copper, uranium and phosphorus, they occur in other big uranium deposits around the world. So what was it about the Lake Boga quarry that made it different?
If nature can use this trick to clean up waste uranium, perhaps we can too. Secondary uranium phosphates were brought here to the Geochronology Laboratory at Melbourne University for analysis. And that's where Roland Mars comes in.
We take the grains to pieces, we break them up. We only need tiny little quantities and we dissolve them in acid. Then we extract uranium and thorium from them and we use that for obtaining a uranium-thorium date.
The ratios of the uranium and thorium are measured using a mass spectrometer.
We are dating these minerals to find out more about the timing of weathering and uranium mobility around the Lake Boga granite. These minerals seem to form, whether it's dry or whether it's wet, over more than 500,000 years.
And these crystals hold a lot of uranium.
Uranium phosphates contain up to 50 weight% of uranium. So they are an ideal place to lock up uranium.
It's early days in this research into how these exquisite crystals of such unusual minerals formed in the first place. But the promise is there of providing a safe way to store uranium over geological timescales. Like it or not, nuclear power is here to stay. And as long as we've got a nuclear industry, we're going to need to be able to clean up uranium wastes coming out of the reactors and at the mine sites. Maybe these magic minerals from Western Victoria will show us a new way to clean up after ourselves.